Smarter plays support Elise. We have jungle Aatrox, and you can put the Scion anywhere. Like, oh my goodness, some just crazy stuff.
Well, the reverse matchup potential was there to go in the mid lane Aatrox, but Scion would make more sense from what we saw recently. If you remember, Griffin played very similar style, going back to Scion mid lane against Lissandra, purely because Lissandra ain't going to kill Scion, and you can counter roam.
This is almost exactly the same composition. Coming out from Griffin, they were playing support Galio, top Aatrox, and mid Scion. So just trying things a little bit differently. I'm not entirely sure what there was in the jungle, but it was something with a little bit of early extra power on the side of Tarzan. So SKT doing a bit of a Griffin impression this game.
It could have been more spicy. Would have loved to see double reverse matchups as the Aatrox into Lissandra and also the Elise into Jarvan, but we'll take 1 out of 2.
It was actually the Elise. I remember it actually was the Elise jungle pick,
So because of that, they are definitely going for something familiar. SK Telecom T1. Damage-wise, the game goes on. They'll have considerations, but this is the SKT style I've liked the most, is their ability to abuse early game and close games rather than their ability to try to scale into the late game. They've already shown some scaling in game number 1. This is one where I want to watch the clock and say, okay, SKT, if you want to actually impress in this series, show us that you can just overwhelm the enemy before Vayne can even get 2 items.
Yeah, and I think this is a game where Clid has to pop off as well, because they don't necessarily have winning lanes, but they have lanes that can help with a gank extraordinarily well. Their gank assist on all of these champions is disgusting, and that's how we saw Griffin actually manage to dismantle Damwon in that example. Let's see whether SKT can do the same thing in game number 2. Okay, and the confirmation was that it was a Kai'Sa paired with the Galio, and that was the only difference between Griffin and SKT's composition here in this game.
But a very meaningful difference, Atlas. You might take Kai'Sa, Kalista, same K-letter, what's going on here, both 80 carries, but again, Kalista's very much spiking at 2 items, and Kai'Sa has that unique synergy with her passive on hard crowd control, so whatever the build, AP or AD, guaranteed to do a lot of damage, the game goes on. So I would argue even more onus on SKT with limited damage threats to get this game done and dusted early. We're very confident they can do that, but it's a different style to their come-from-behind win against Sandbox and their kind of just scaling win in game number 1 against Jin-Air. Still a lot of comfort there, and Faker just dusting off after Chovy reminds us that just go Scion and grin and bear it early game against Lissandra.
Yeah, we'll see what his build is going to be. He has taken himself a bit of a spell book here in the mid lane. You do have that ability to do so, meaning that you can abuse the teleport to make your way back in and get some decent back timings.
And good news, when he teleports back in, he can take Cleanse, and then he's Cleanse Scion against Lissandra.
Oh my goodness. Doesn't seem like he's going to be moving anywhere. And when we saw Chovy playing it, it was the classic Chovy Scion mid, which was have a disgusting amount of lane control after you've maxed out that Q. Very early on in this game, though, C's, you can see, setting up for a level 2 gank.
Fake leash topside by SK Telecom. Aatrox spending a bit of time at the blue buff before going up. So because of that fake leash, see what happens.
Yep, there's the flash pulverize. They're looking for Teddy, and they'll find him. It's a decent taunt, but it is not enough. And first blood goes to the Vayne.
Just super assertive that Sweeper gave them all the information they needed, and they pick up first blood. Nice move, Jin-Air.
Really, really good stuff. And I like that they just got in there with the pulverized flash as well. Guaranteed CC. And Teddy doesn't have cleanse. He has no way of getting out of that because it's a knock-up anyway. And Kellen's just having fun with his Hex Flash now, not even needing to give up too much, given the fact that he's taken that particular route.
Right, it's Jin-Air, nice and tricky, and even though SKT were doing the mind games with the fake leash, they say, okay, I guess the jungler's topside, whatever, let's soul in, and the all-in works, the decisive play works, and good to see from them as C says, I want as many Scuttle Crabs as I can get.
Yeah, and it actually would have been cool if C's had picked up that kill as well. Would have meant that he has skirmishing potential against Clid, means that the counter ganks will be even more important because we know in this composition for SKT, the Elise is very important at getting this particular composition through the early game because they don't necessarily have winning lanes. They've just got a lot of ability to help those ganks happen.
So Kellen hadn't revealed his summoner. Usually you take headbutt trade at level 1. He had taken pulverize, and very clear what happened here. Don't need to go over the minute by minute action.
Yep. 잡아. 나이스. 무킬이야, 무킬.
Get it.
Just nice to hear some clear comms. Of course, we don't get to hear Jin-Air comms too often there.
Yeah.
But the thing to say to your point is you probably have to go Cinderhulk Jarvan this game compared to the Warrior Jarvan we saw previous game, because it's going to eventually be how many big thick boys can stand in front of Vayne. So the kill going on to Vayne, if it brings that timer earlier, Atlas, and there's 2 items online, who's to say that Jin Air is going to find some potentially good moments, and the Root has gone pretty bold in his Keystone choices. No Hail of Blades here that we sometimes see taken. It's just press the attack solo queue style on this Vayne.
Yeah, there's more of those that have been coming in here as Tana doesn't quite find the stun with the flawless duet, but he'll be able to pick up these minions under turret. It's been what Aurelia's been good at the entirety of her time on the Rift. Aurelia, her release.
Carry top, Vayne, carry, 80 carry, and obviously one of the harder ones here. So we are expecting Cinderhulk, unless they really want to fight. And there is the argument, you go Warrior Jarvan, and then you act as a bridge. I think it's something that we see good teams do, is say, I'm going to be really powerful now, and later I'll buy a GA, I'll just try to control space. Yes, my items don't scale that well, but guess what? My teammates will get to that point more reliably and scale just fine. So wait and see what flavor of Jarvan we see. Right now, just focusing on Tana. He was able to do his matchup here. He's on the Aurelia. It's one of those matchups where you do get value out of your W against Khan.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily a composition that I like too much as far as a 1-4 is concerned, just because Vayne doesn't quite have that wave clear that something like an Ezreal would have that we saw SKT piloting so well in game number 1. We'll see how Tana is actually going to be able to fit into this Jin Air composition as this game goes on.
SKT really happy with the Infernal first spawn.
Yeah.
If they can reclaim some control around bot lane, it's the sort of scaling you want on a comp that's mostly early game team fight focused. You made the point that it's not win lane, win game. It's very much these champions really hit the first fights 325 reliably. Yeah. And it's very hard to get any access onto Teddy.
Also really hard to punish these lanes as well, just because Faker and Khan are going to be just like blocks in the way of Jin Air Green Wings.
Does Faker take Cleanse or Ignite here on his first spellbook choice? That's going to come up in about 10 seconds.
We'll have to see. I feel like Ignite would be the Faker in 2019 choice.
I sadly think it's going to be Cleanse. So
yeah, it should be. But come on, he's been coming out with some fighting words recently, Papa Smithy.
Well, let's see if he comes out with some fighting summoners, Atlas. Yeah. It's the most excitement we're going to get in the next 20 seconds.
He's got the fighting build. He's going for the Sterix Gauge first item.
Jerome's Fist into tank was actually what we saw from Chovy most recently. No, there was no Titanic Hydra, sadly.
That's the 2 Jerome.
He went that one. So.
Yeah, he did.
Respect shown to him anyway. We'll get that confirmation later. But Jerome's Fist, a little bit of AD scaling, of course, with Qmax.
Yeah, it just allows you to scale into lane as well with that stacking health that you can pick up from the item. Don't mind it, very even on the farm here as the waves are about to meet. But that is a very sneaky Elise up towards the top side, trying to get Khan ahead.
Sadly, though, because the ward is in the closest brush and the minion wave was coming, the minion wave just aggroed onto Elise, and thus they knew the ward was there. So no ability to keep Elise cooped up in top lane a long time, like in some other scenarios like that.
That was actually a really cute play from Khan, as you saw on the top side. Hit the Infernal Chain, then immediately used his third Q in case Tana used Blade Surge to jump to him to get out of the way of the Infernal Chain. Some cute little mind games being played here by Khan, but not going to be able to use it to be able to get themselves any gank successfully, just because of that cute little ward that Tana had placed, like you were talking about.
So because the Galio wasn't flexed to mid, Vayne has the good matchup into Galio's support, unless coming out of control warded brush. Look at the first item buy, super respectful from Teddy.
Yeah.
He knows that he has to deal with potentially Aurelia teleporting in. Jin Air just want to get gold onto Vayne and get her to 2 items as early as possible before SKT can use their comp to bulldoze them. So given that and how many people can pack up, I understand it. Here we go.
Yeah, there's the flash in. This is a level 5 Alistar. Has to use the flash in order to get himself out, but Namada is going to get knocked up. Teddy picks it up with the Ren stack, but they do trade it as now C's going aggressively. Clid offering more damage back. Teddy needs to be respected, though, and speaking of respect, Faker down to 200 health in the mid lane as Grace flashes forward, but he Qs too early and doesn't pick up the kill.
So unfortunate. I believe Faker had to go up the lane to interrupt the teleport from Grace, which wasn't actually able to be completed. Almost solo killed in the procedure. But It ends up being 1-for-1 after all.
Yep, no summoner spells left in that mid lane, which is good for both of these junglers as Tana's taking a lot of damage up towards the top side. That's a great reset, though, with the flawless duet. And now we're still fighting Faker. Oh my goodness, the knockup isn't going to come in. Not in time, but they might be able to get the trade kill as topside Tana has killed the Aatrox under the turret, and Faker gets one back. Tana going to be way more lucky, though, walks away with 150.
An eventual trade kill in the mid lane, but a solo kill on the top side. I wish we kept the camera on Tana, because even this part we saw...
switching back and forth, back and forth.
But even the part we saw, Atlas was so sick on his part. Hitting that flawless duet was actually awesome in the stun on the part that we saw, and then was actually able to pick up the solo kill there. Ends up being double solo kill for Jin Air. Yes, there was a response from Faker, but overall, wow, big moments from the Jin Air solo lane.
Yes, absolutely fantastic. And it all started here down towards the bottom side of the map. Teddy was very lucky to be able to pick up this Rend kill as Marta gets knocked back right into C's. As you can see, that kill just delivered on a silver platter. And Jin Air go for 1-for-1, another kill for the Vayne.
So it's an interrupt by Faker just with a Q. He hadn't flashed or ulted at this point in the mid lane that stops the Lissandra from making that a 2-for-1 or potentially even more. Let's watch the top side, because Khan, this is when we came to play, when the first bit of damage came in, but watch the turns from Tana. This is actually super slick play, and then gets the level up to get enough mana to all in. Actually chased for this kill, speaking of kills.
Oh, and no Bloodwell onto Khan. That was the problem, as Tana gets the reset and gets out.
But actually, in the picture-in-picture, there was, in fact, another kill onto Khan coming through. So the action is continuing all around the map, but Jin Air up 3 kills casually.
Yeah, you can see Faker is actually going for the Sterix Gauge. He's going to complete it, has the pickaxe and Ruby Crystal now in his back pocket. Siege should be able to grab Shelly, though. Infernal falls down in favor of SKT, but if you can get some turret plates with Shelly, this game can certainly be snowballed before that scaling on the Infernal is as relevant.
Main ward from Khan, not available this time, Atlas, and this is the picture-in-picture play. It's not perfect from Jin Air, but they're just able, with no Khan ultimate, to find that second kill. It's actually picture-in-picture again. This Rift Herald, I don't even know who it went to.
Yeah, heroic entrance is going to come down here as Faker picks up the kill onto C's. Grace did manage to pick up the Rift Herald, but he's going to get cocooned. Clid snipes him out in the backline now as Faker is very low. Clid is extremely squishy. Great double knockup. Comes in from Kellen, who keeps himself alive for so long. Vanguard's Edge now comes forward as Root turns up from the bottom side. Will get a condemn back, but Faker is already dead at this point in time. And Jin Air, I think, managed to trade up again.
What is this, Atlas? A League of Legends game made for ants? We're watching it in the picture-in-picture. And just action every time we cue a replay. Tana has double buffs, and Khan, he may have ultimate back up, but he's definitely going to give a modicum of respect to the Aurelia.
Yeah, this is ultimate hard mode for our observers. We've made it to the final week, and now it's the final challenge for those guys. We finally get this replay. C's played that real cute.
So C's was trying to solo the Rift Herald. He gets the contest here, and that's why the Yakety Sax Fiesta begins overall. It is claimed by Jin Air, and you notice everyone rotating through, including the Vayne, makes the trip topside when it comes to cleaning up some kills here. It's not the maximum for the Vayne, but they do get 2 more.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually an assist going over as Tana does finish off the kill. But that's 2-0-1 now for Root on the bottom side, and even though he's behind in CS, that has bridged him through this early game so beautifully, and he does have himself that first bounty gold of 150.
And SKT are being forced into some awkward decisions. For example, before that play started, you were talking about how the Sterix Gauge was going to come in as a rush. He was sitting on Joram's Fist, pickaxe. You don't feel great about the pickaxe, right? You don't feel great about the health crystal when you're against Lissandra in lane, but he's rushing Sterix because he realizes that actually I might be against Aurelia in a side lane that I don't necessarily want to be hitting, so I can't just build Spectre's Cowl and be fine. At that item timing, Jin Air actually forced a fight where he doesn't really have much of anything, right? Doesn't have Merc Treads, doesn't have a lot of magic resist. They're able to take him down further, and in a game where we like where Jin Air is going, they're actually going there way earlier than expected. They don't have the Infernal, but a lot else decided Jin Air, and maybe a death.
Cocoon goes all the way through, but Root does have Cleanse. That was a lot of value, that particular summoner spell right there.
But it feels like Jin Air are going to show up to this party earlier than SKT have set up the chairs and also the snacks. Just aren't available, so because of that.
Well, normally it's supposed to be Jin Air that are the snacks, but they've turned up and they're not ready to be eaten right now.
Such a weird series, given that SKT would understandably be looking forward to future matches over this present one. They still need to win the series in front of them. There's still plenty of time to do so. But SKT got a lot to worry about, especially Tana, who casually has a 20-odd CS lead and 3 kills over his own.
3-0-1 in this early game is just incredible for the Aurelia when it's being piloted by a Jin Air player.
And it's Tana subbing in for game number 2 as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Linderung has not been finding too much game time recently. Remember, it was Chongo on the top side. It was Grace on the top side then in the second game. They have been rotating through. That is 4 different top laners in the last 4 games.
Taking inspiration from maybe the team you least should take inspiration from is mid lane.
Faker's just smacking down on Grace. He has to ult himself. Seas comes in here, and Faker, remember, not a lot of resistances. Gets himself that big Steric shield and does find a lot of damage from his Q cleared. Can he get here in time? That's a great cocoon landing. As Faker's at 1 hit, he's going to get killed by the minions. Oh no, the caster Greaves gets himself the shield back. And I don't think you can say, you're not allowed to say calculated at that point in time.
I think it was single-digit HP. It was up to 25, ticking by the time the shield was able to abate any more damage. Natural health regen, never more encouraged or appreciated. Bit of a fiesta going on around here, but Jin Air continue to profit. We're waiting for SKT to, really sees.
Oh, no.
What did he die to?
Red buff.
The Bramble Pit. The party in the Bramble Pit.
Yep,
Rivington called it in the past. This time, it's a party that Seas just wasn't ready for.
Seas was ready for the broken shard. He was seizing his broken shard moment. I'm sorry, my friend. You're never going to live that one down. As Marta and Teddy here do get the shove on the bottom side of the map. Turret plates have gone down a minute ago. Not too many of them have fallen apart from the top side of the map. For Jin Air Green Wings.
And it's a very consequential execute as well, Atlas, because it's when Jarvan died to monsters, right? So they know Jarvan can't be there. That means it's a freebie to SKT. They will lose top lane turret, but after all the plates are down. And SKT, remember, they're trying to hit the mid-game running. They're definitely tripping up in their execution, getting to that point. But the Infernal is the kind stranger, picking you up a couple of times and maybe allowing SKT a more even team fight than they deserve.
Yeah, one of the scary things is here for... Okay, this is looking good for Khan. Throws down the World Ender. Vanguard's Edge is in there. Tana's trying to fight this one back, but it's not going to work. The flash, I don't know where he thought he was going. That knock-up is all around you. As Khan picks up the solo to get back at Tana.
He's flashing to the next life, Atlas. That was very much the light at the end of the tunnel, but it was not, unfortunately.
Flashing into the death chamber.
It was the darkness. That's what's happened in the mid lane. This is why the play started. No. That's important. So Faker actually, the reason he almost dies to begin this play is interrupting Riptail. Thank you for the 200 IQ. Korean observing there to make sense of why Faker was so far down the lane. However, I would love to see the HP bar here. I believe it's single digit. Here's Seas. He's trying to seize the day, or the red buff, or the Bramble Pit, or the party, as we talked about. Let's watch this one. So he's down to 200 health. Let's watch him die. We're going to watch him. How close is it, Atlas? Is it one order?
Oh, he gets to 1 health! Oh my
Holy
God,
crap!
It's a disaster!
How many people are staring down the light at the end of the tunnel? It was literally the Bramble as well!
Oh, that's so bad. And then also, I take it all back. He doesn't deserve the kind of hatred that we gave him for dying to the red buff. That is not, you're an idiot, you died to red buff. That was him doing everything and making the calculations and then 1 health. 1 health.
This red buff deserves a name. What is the name of Jin Air's red buff? As we'll have to hold the point for that.
Yeah, we will. I'll keep it in mind as the Unbreakable Will does go down from Kellen, but now Root has a lot of damage. Faker is in there, gets headbutted back. I think the Scion is going to die, but SKT grabbed the first one onto Tana. Faker trades his life back, but now will be Zombie Scion, but not enough to go for the dive here against Jin Air.
Only 4 members of Jin Air defending, though, so they didn't have Lissandra involved and still were able to trade 1 for 1. A third Infernal is spawning. Jin Air, it feels like stopping that from going to SKT is maybe their ticket to get in the 50-50 fight that should favor the Vayne comp.
Yeah, the thing that's really scary, though, is you can understand why Jin Air aren't going for these early game team fights around objectives like the Dragon. Just because their composition isn't as good at it. As SKTs, as Grace is looking for Clid, doesn't find the last tick on that particular queue there. So doesn't go aggressive with the ultimate down on the Spider Lady, but very squishy is Clid at this point in time. Stopwatch was there, not too much more.
We're going to call the Jin Air red buff Brian the Bramble.
The life of Brian was definitely a story.
It was an eventful one.
It was.
I read that journal entry. Here's the replay on the play. Lysandra, the only person not to pack up and go bot lane. Faker's on the Scions, of course, roaming like a Lysandra makes a lot of sense. Another great stun from
Yeah,
Tana.
that flawless duet even hit Faker.
It's why this turned into multiple skirmishes rather than something approximating a 5v5. Obviously on that side, Bane's going to be fine, and now Bane's 12-25 gold away from being teamfight ready, and you would say that SKT are far away from closing the door on Jin Air.
Yeah, Kana now, he's struggling a little bit here against Khan, despite having a fantastic early game and still having a 21 CS advantage. Now that the Black Cleaver is in, a lot of extra CDR is there for Khan, so he's pretty comfortable.
Interesting to see Teddy bring back a build we haven't seen much at all.
Yeah.
Seeming very much like we're going to be seeing the mirrored Rage Blades on both sides. This is a single target build that makes frontliners more accountable. So this is very much about killing C's if C's the only person he can auto.
Yeah, also Tana as well, as we've got a fight on the bottom side. Teddy gets out of the Cataclysm as now he's trying to dance away from the Jin Air players. Does so effectively. That's the problem with Kalista. If you don't kill him with your burst, you're not going to kill her at all.
Really weird flash from C's. I couldn't see if it was an EQ or just flashing for an auto, but Cinderhulk, he's not going to be able to take down Teddy. Both of the 80 carries able to back away. Bane's going to go mid lane, and now it's on Lysandra to wait.
Yeah, I want to shout out Faker's build just a little bit more. I know you brought up the fact that it feels a little bit awkward not being able to build something like the magic resist items, but building flat health is better when you're against otherwise full like armor damage. So I actually like it. I like the decision to rush towards it just because it feels like the best possible option to try and deal with not too much magic damage at all. 15 seconds on the Infernal Drake.
The best possible Drakes for SKT this game, given how it's gone. So Jin Air desperately wanted to pick up an answering Infernal. Of course, the amount of percentage AD and AP is way more for that first stack. Speaking of first stacks.
Yeah, we're looking for Faker here in the mid lane, but he's very tanky. Infernal Chains land onto C's, who just takes too much damage. Even the Q landing there from Faker, you know that Vayne has a great time smacking down on a Scion. Now SKT are going to start off this dragon. Jin Air caught napping a little bit there in the mid lane as Faker not able to actually go back and doesn't have the teleporters. Oh no! Going for the flank, and Grace just gets punished.
Lane ward there was the big reason SKT got that pick. The CC duration, the CC overlapping was way earlier than Grace was aware. Grace taken down, full CC burst, no ability to self-ult, and SKT do get that much-needed third Infernal. This is the tonic they're looking for. Now suddenly they've got the wings that Red Bull apparently gives you.
Yep.
They've got all that extra AD and AP, and all they're waiting for is Teddy to finish the second item. And then, if their execution is better, they should stick the landing on the first big team fight of the game.
Yeah, somewhere Clement is incredibly tilted, by the way. Did you hear his rant about wishing that dragons were seen before the draft phase? Yes, this is Grace just being spotted by lane ward and getting destroyed.
The vision toggle there is so important. It wasn't like Grace chased 3 members and died haphazardly or got too greedy, trying to kill a Kalista that looks suspiciously far up the lane. Instead, the lane ward was the true MVP there. It was out of turret range as well. Great lane ward. Not sure I'll put it down. I'll give credit to Mata, given that we had so many words for him in game number 1. Things coming together better in games number 2.
And when it comes to vision control, I think Mata's probably the man you want to talk about just in general. It was either his ward or he told somebody else to put it down. As our Rage Blade is now completed. For both of our 80 carries at this point in time, Teddy was jealous of Root being able to head towards that as item number 2. He decides to do it as well. Hurricane will be coming in next.
And as a viewer, if you want to know who's going to win a team fight, consider again which 80 carry can stack up the Ginsu's Rage before the fight gets going. Because if you enter a fight 6 stacks and the enemy AD hasn't autoed yet, you have insanely more damage, whether you're Kalista or Vayne.
Faker's just tanking up a turret. The Cocoon is going to go wide, though, as Grace explodes! Oh my god, that damage is insane as Clid didn't want to pick up the turret aggro. Grace survives with a sliver of health.
Yeah, 2 different options there. Actually use the aggressive ultimate rather than the self-ult and live to tell the tale. So Grace was able to problem solve through that one. He can TP back in, but this is still staying isolated without his ulti. Did they just try the dive again?
Yeah, doesn't have ultimate this time around, but does have his flash coming up in a couple of seconds. Seize turns up, but you can see Faker's got a frozen heart. He can tank the turret for near years at this point in time.
And coming back to the point about warming up your Ginsu's Rage, it's a 950 gold bounty versus 600 bounty if you add on the 300 of the previous system. So the MVPs are very clear in the next fight. Kill the enemy AD carry first, and you should have the fight.
Yep, exactly right. And also, both of these AD carries are examples of champions that you need to kill very, very quickly because the DPS stacks up so incredibly fast. Teddy, mostly because he can keep himself so safe in these fights as well and does have the stopwatch advantage.
Frozen Heart, one of those ways to actually decrease Vayne's damage. Of course, the Schadenfreude moment is that if you build health, he actually has percentage, maximum health damage. So no one stat is usually enough to answer. So a stat that gives armor and also just true reduction in attack speed is one of the few ways to target. Now, is it going to be Bazinga value when you get your true damage every second auto and you have an auto attack cancel? Maybe not, but it is one way to fight. That is the way that works against both Tana and Root. I'd say Seize, but he does no damage.
But also now Faker has that I can infinitely tank turrets build. So SKT can dive whatever they want, assuming that Faker is going to be able to pick up that turret aggro. So I actually don't mind it at all here from these guys. Faker is so incredibly safe because he can just turn into a choo-choo train at will.
The first time, Atlas, we get to celebrate it. The old 1,000 gold bounty is back. It's 700 now, but it's on Kalista. Getty, the first person to wear that 700 gold bounty. 1,000 gold if you kill the Kalista. Looking like a hard battle to do so. But when the items start to stack up, and if Tana can find his man in the next fight, anything's possible.
Yeah, exactly right. And this is a CS number that's very Uzi-esque in a mid-game. This is what happens when RNG decide that they haven't had the early game that they want. They say, go and farm, my son. And he does so. And that's exactly what Teddy's done this game. Getting himself to 1,000 gold bounty after picking up the kill credit on a couple of great wards that were placed, things like that. The early game did not go well for these guys, but Teddy's turned it all around in the mid-game as Tana is going to get knocked up very, very high, and that flawless duet was not exactly as flawless as you want it to be. In fact, every single skill shot is going to miss, and now Seize could be in line for a 2 versus 1 against the Aatrox, and SKT have decided they'll take advantage of it by taking down a Baron at 25 minutes into the game, triple Infernals in hand.
And Khan's not allowing the Jarvan to get out of the dance pit. He's going to have to stick around, and here's TP.
Yep, Fate's Call comes in, but Tana does avoid. Oh, not enough, as Teddy's just going to be able to execute him. Now Grace, with not too much more than an Aftershock that has worn off, now has to use the Claw to get out. Faker, no ultimate available, but Khan's looking for the flank. Good knock up there onto Kellen. Double knock up comes in from Khan, and this is the team fight comp that SKT has. The J4 gets obliterated. Who's trapped in there with who is Root has finally got himself into a position where he can carry the flash forward, the stopwatch. But Teddy has nowhere to go. Oh my god, he finds the cow! Root's able to grab the 1,000 gold as the bounty comes in. But Clid, he does have full vision of this area. Jin'e not going to be able to go for a Baron or anything like that, but this is a huge Vayne now.
And the Vayne stays alive. Atlas able to turn it around even though the front line started to go down. The moment Vayne went in, Kalista had to drop Ginsu's rage. She understood that Vayne was getting going. This is a game where Root is going to have to be the hard carry. Watch the replay here. Remember the dance moves that started this play for SKT. Tana couldn't actually match it on the dance floor. We know who is the true king. It's in fact SKT Donga, better known as Khan.
Yeah.
On the re-engage, remember it's 5v4 and Aatrox is going to be spotted, I believe, at the start of the vision here. You see the first kill go down, you're like, aha, this is the fight for SKT. But remember that Root gets going, gets warmed up, gets going, and sadly, Root died.
Yeah. Well, so he just didn't quite get as going as we thought he did.
He did in this play, but the picture-in-picture actually
just watch the big screen, guys. Nice work, Root. Really, really well done. And we're going to go back to live and just ignore the fact that he's a grey icon.
If we were OPL casters and Root was in our league, we could say a lot of fun things. But we won't. Here's the replay. That is what we call a greedy back spot, better known as a bad teleport spot for an AD carry. We always think of AD carries going for bad TPs with their newfound summoner. Yeah. The back one is an oldie, but it definitely hits Root hard, given that now he has to come in and lose out on a lot of fun.
Yeah, the phrase is oldie but a goodie, but that's not a goodie. That's bad.
It's also a lot of gold to Clid as well. Might have been 1,000 gold actually.
Yeah.
Given all the bounties that are around, the farm bounty wouldn't have been as big because
certainly
way behind in
CS.
50
behind.
And SKT get a Mountain Drake. They need to, there is no casino access for Koreans, of course.
Yeah.
In case you guys don't know, we haven't talked about this in a while. If you're a Korean, you can't actually enter the
If you're a Korean
casinos.
citizen, you can't gamble anywhere, is actually the law.
But obviously most felt in Korea because we do have casinos here.
And mostly of the Koreans are in Korea. But even if you go overseas and you have a Korean passport, not allowed to gamble.
So maybe they should download some phone games and look for some blind boxes then, because they can still do that.
Yes, and that is certainly how a lot of money is made in the tech market here in Korea.
Not League of Legends, though. We can laugh at that for now.
All right, Jin Green Wings. They grouped up as 5. They're looking for an engagement. Gray's going to throw out the ball, but doesn't find too much more. Exactly right. C stopped from heading forward is cleared. Is looking for him. No taunt to land, but he loses half of his health bar and his Gargoyle Stone Blade. Root has no summoner spells in this fight, but Kellen does. He might need to be the peel that the Vayne needs.
It's so weird, but I'm always watching to see if both the AD carries have minions alive to auto. You might almost don't want to wave clear so that if you can find a flash headbutt pulverize, Ginsu's Rage Vayne able to enter the fight and just do so much more damage so quickly. We're seeing the map split up a little bit. Backing on a ward is Faker, I believe. He hasn't spotted that one. It does now, and maybe was just fading around the top side of the screen.
Yeah, moves into that brush. Voltar Spiderling doing some damage here as Banshee's Veil is done for cleared. It's actually very good news for the very squishy Elise. It's just posturing here at this stage of the game. Jinner, they have a kill lead, but they don't have a gold lead, and look at all of the dragons for SKT.
The haves and has not are much more subtle than you might imagine, though, in a Jinner vs SKT game. We have True Vayne, who has Stopwatch. Stopwatch is done, but the QSS is up on the Kalista, and then you just have to kind of pick your poison and what the difference is. If the first person dies, then the Vayne can potentially keep tumbling forward, but killing a tank easier for Vayne than Kalista, but the tank items on the front line here. Faker is occupying space. He pops barrier and has an overshield, Frozen Heart, and a Thorn Mail. However, the threat is higher theoretically if Grace or Tana can get backline access. So given all the conditionals, maybe it's just a sum of the ward line. If you ask me who wins in the open, you want to say 3 Infernals, 30-minute SKT, but you're definitely not confident in that assertion.
Yeah, absolutely not. As Faker can take tank Baron for approximately forever. I think maybe forever.
How many turret shots do you think he can take?
About 1 million. I said he could stand under there for a year, and I think that he can almost do.
Do you think he's Mundo tier?
Yeah. That's Thornmail and Frozen Heart. It's just
and Sterix and Barrier.
Yeah. It's just silly. I think he actually just popped the barrier to get himself a flashback. Looks like SKT are looking for a fight.
But they're winning on the map, so they're not necessarily looking for a fight, and they don't respect Jinner starting Baron because the Khan approach and the amount of CC might interrupt the round Baron. Now we know, and they know, that there is no teleport on Khan. Jinner are not the best around Baron Atlas. The big reason they lost game 1 against, I believe it was, KT last week was their kind of misfiring around Baron, so SKT make the measured read. It's correct.
Yep. 3 items on both of our top laners actually says a lot more for Khan, who struggled in the laning phase. The Baron has been started though, and Jinner do have a lot of damage. Root has to be respected in this Baron pivot. You can see it's no surprise to SKT. Should be a 50-50 as Clint's going to come in. Sees, jumps over, tries to lock down Teddy, but this is the J4. The triple knock-up comes in as Teddy's able to grab that first kill. He gets knocked up by Kellen, but where's the follow-up damage? It is absent from this fight. Root is still alive. He's tumbling forward so far, but he's going to die. Cleared, grabs that kill, and now Jinner is trying to fight back. Double kill for the Aurelia. The flawless duet. Faker, he's going to go down. It's a triple kill. Can he get the Penta? Tana gets the Quadra, and now he's going to be able to get it. Tana just steps on in. Linderung was there, but now the Aurelia saved the game.
Khan will be the buzzkill, no pentakill, but still a big moment for Jinner. You see how tricky it is to keep on top of Vayne and Aurelia in a team fight. Root was warmed up. I don't know if Ginsu Rage was maintained on the turn. Cease goes in, while Root is actually awkwardly stunned and doesn't get any orders off. So I believe he drops Ginsu's Rage, but maybe the time at which Jinner naturally should have a team fight advantage has been reached, because even with all the Infernals in a very close-knit fight, the health bars on SKT don't mean as much as we first assumed.
Oh, Tana is just so incredibly good. I lost my mind watching him. Every flawless duet was exactly that, utterly flawless. And after missing so many of his skill shots in the previous engagement against Khan, this was just a dance.
But at the end of the dance, it almost feels like it's like Strictly Come Dancing, and we're pretty sure these scores are going to be pretty even. However, Jin Air, because of their team comp, should have the runs on the board. They should be able to outscale in this game, but a lot of that is execution. There's been many simple drafts they've mis-executed on, with Root being the one who, at some point, should have enough threat and tankiness around him that he should be more unimpeded than the Kalista. Maybe it doesn't matter how many armor items you build. However, Faker says, screw that, I'm going for my next item, I'm going Gargoyle, I'm going Stone Plate, and if he's tanky and one of Tana or Root drop, SKT can still win this game.
Well, we'll see whether they can. See whether Root's going to be able to get a pop-off in the next fight. I mean, I think it was a bit of a whoopsie, personally, as I believe that was an extra flash being channeled there by Kellen. Gets a little bit punished for it. But yeah, Root actually tumbling forward and just getting incidentally destroyed, I think, by a volatile Spiderling was a bit of a problem. They'll get another go at it here as Grace in great flanking position. Good double knock up there from Khan, and here's the turn from Jin Air. Khan goes into World Ender. He's around 4 members of Jin Air is stacked completely up, and he's going to go down, and now Faker has to use the ultimate in order to get out. It's a decent use of the Cocoon to try and keep them alive, but Jin Air are back on the Baron with 5 members in comparison to the 4.
Rinse and repeat, but look at this. Turn ultimates on Lissandra and Aurelia are up. So it's difficult for SKT to make much happen here. Maybe a Fate's call to open it, or maybe just give up Baron.
Yep, they are going to. They're going to trade it for an outer turret in the mid lane, and this is a huge moment for Jin Air Green Wings. SKT just didn't have any options.
Because those ults are up, the turn from Jin Air is much stronger than SKT can deal with as a 4-member squad. That's why they have to show respect. If they needed to invest Lissandra and Aurelia ult to get the 1 kill, I think you walk up as SKT. But on the replay, just notice that no one can get near Root, and at some point, we're just waiting for every subsequent auto, no escape plan for Khan.
Yeah, exactly, and actually really like the Cataclysm placement to come in from C's. It really denied any follow-up on what Khan was trying to do. Bit of a rare disconnect there from SKT, especially with the current power level that we've been toting Khan as.
And I'm sure some people in chat are wondering, where is the Hurricane on Kalista? Wasn't built second, it was a Rage Bait, isn't built at all. Consider how these fights are looking. There is never a time where it's frontline versus frontline. I'm spreading 3 Hurricane, 2 Hurricane bolts in an auto on multiple people and then stacking. It's very much threats getting in and out of Kalista's face, and she just needs to survive and fight back when one person, say for example Jarvan, gets in her face. So going very much for a defensive build in that scenario and not getting the standard Rage Bait synergy that we often see.
Well, SKT are doing a decent job trying to defend this, and you can see their minion waves are in a brilliant position. So far, first minute of the Baron has not been all that successful. SKT also took the Ocean Drake, so next Drake is going to be up, and it's going to be the Elder in about 4 minutes or so. Tana is able to actually get some space here, create some lane control on the top side, but that means that Jin Air have to give up in the mid lane. Now Cleared is hunting for Grace. They're on the bottom side of the map.
Just feels like now, even with all the Infernals, it's a rich man's versus poor man's scenario, because Teddy going a single target build feels like a poor man's Vayne in these fights, because Vayne gets to be Vayne, and unfortunately, you can be a rich man's tank with your Thorn Mail, with Sterix, with all these items, and it's still Vayne. And in a front-to-back fight where Teddy tries to keep up Ginz's rage in order so he can, Vayne's going to do more damage. It feels like the rich man's Vayne is working out, and SKT need to redefine it with some creative engage to stop Root from getting going. Here's that creative engage.
Yeah, they're going to dive on forward, but it's straight into analysis. Not exactly the target you want. Another Cataclysm is going to break Khan off from this fight as Root. He's going to come in, but Khan is looking for it, gets him down to the stopwatch as Root's not going to survive. Clid takes him down, and now SKT have got the turn. Jin Air, unfortunately, a misplay in the team fight that was going so well.
3650 is your Vayne spotting timer. Unfortunately, Root is just feeling too empowered. His summoners are up. He can go in. No. He actually ends up going in far too boldly, and SKT might just win.
Yeah, exactly right. Remember, this is 37 minutes into the game. Triple Infernal on SKT. They can tank turrets forever, and they got 5 members still alive. Teddy's got 5 items, and what a way to go down for Jin Air. Tana almost with a pentacle in the last fight. They had the Vayne composition, they had the late game, but they didn't have the finesse. In these team fights, they're going to go for one last-ditch effort as Tana goes down to Hysterics very early on, but he gets rendered. They do deal with the minion wave, and SKT, it looks like they're not going to win just yet, but they might be able to get this follow-up kill. Infernal Chains is going to get rid of him. See you later, C's. You are going to be falling here. That was a really cute follow flash there from Khan, but Kellen gets into position.
C's living there actually means their reset around Elder Dragon is going to be much less delayed. The face check here would have been criminal from Root. He thinks better of it. Man, there's so many people lying in wait.
They're all chomping
at the pit,
well. Yeah, Marta's looking for it. Doesn't blow the flash on an Alistair. I like that play. Unbreakable Will is still there. Final hours pop now from Root. Can he get value? You can see he's playing very far back. Grace is going to go into his own ultimate, but can Jinner get into position? The answer is no, and SKT get another free one. Flawless duet doesn't actually arm. Jinner waiting for it, Faker with another ultimate, but it's onto the cow yet again. Headbutt pulverized, lands onto the front line. Khan is going to be able to get rid of him, but sees in the back line another Cataclysm in decent position, but Teddy is going to take him down. Root cannot find the free auto attacks. He's just taking too much damage. Double kill for Teddy. And this will be the end of the game, and the 2-0 from SKT. Tana with a heroic effort, but he's going to spell the triple kill for the Kalista and the ace for SKT.
It's an LCK spring, 29 story as old as time. Jinair, unfortunately, your faith in them in the late game is misplaced. They will eventually make that execution mistake, and Root going down means there's no longer a 5v5. No longer can they be about baiting Baron and turning with a 6-stack into raid.